So today was a tale of two halves, and we learned some tough, not expensive lessons in terms of profit, but tough lessons in terms of working together, and I'll just share that with you here. So first trade was, and by the way, this isn't the chart we're using, so I don't have the markers on it because the trades are taken by my partner, my girlfriend, via TeamViewer downstairs, so you can't see it here. This isn't even the account we're using, but this is the same chart. So we got long here at 91 after that candle had formed, and we had targets at 6.5, 8.5, and a reason we ended up getting out at 2 for various reasons within the plan. So we got 91 to 2, or 11 ticks per contract, and that was great. That was within the plan. That was our morning session. That was 6J, 6E, as we're only trading 6E and 6J. Got long here before this candle had formed for various reasons within the method at 86.5, so really nice entry again here, 86.5. Target was ended up being the exit, and the target ended up being the same at 99 here. There are ways to run this, add in, take off, and we're currently keeping stats on that. We're taking snapshots of charts and looking at ways that we can capitalize from the quality of my analysis, because since we've gone this way, where we have one of us doing my partner being the trade operator and me being the risk manager come market analyst, my analysis is taken leaps and bounds. Like, I'm just catching lows and highs, although that's not what I'm trying to do, but you don't need to do that. But the mass adverse exposure, so the amount of pips or distance that the market's moving adversely against my position, is so much smaller as compared to the mass favorable excursion. So put simply, in layman's terms, I'm getting closer to getting in at the pivot and being able to offer us more of a gain for our risk. So we got in here, having said that, the stop was, I believe, under here, and then we moved it up when it confirmed that it was likely to go in our direction, and took it off here. So the morning was good, 86.5 to 99, so that's 12.5 ticks on 6E and 11 ticks on 6J for a good morning or afternoon. That was early afternoon session. Then, and as I said, we've done our calculations as to how we're going to be more aggressive with these and make more out of it in the future. Then we had this clever idea, today of all days, to push and try to get the FTP done quickly so we can move on to the funded account, and so then we can move back to the other FTP and finish that. So we had this timetable, and it never works out well. There's a glass ceiling of a profit ceiling in trading, much like there is in the corporate world, where there's injustices towards certain ethnic groups, or certain if you're female, you tend to be paid less. But that's another discussion altogether. Well, this is a mental profit ceiling. So there's a certain amount of profit where you start to think of that money as yours, and you start to change the way you operate, unless your system is rock solid, completely systematic, with no room for discretion. And quite frankly, those types of systems don't exist, in my opinion, because you still have to turn on even if it's a black box system, you still have to turn it on and turn it off. So there is discretion involved, there are decisions involved. So theoretically, if you had something like that, then you should be able to just make profit all day, but it doesn't work like that in the real world. We start to get protective after a certain amount. We were way up today. Although we lost the last trade, we still ended up having the biggest day so far on the FTP. So yeah, as I said, we went long here, took whatever that was, a 6J, 11 ticks, I think we said that was. Yeah, 11 ticks there, 13.5 on 6E. So what happened was we decided, or I decided erroneously, that we should try and push. And we got short at 09, stop up here, like above this high here, and then look to protect as it came down, and we put the stop right here at 13.5. Now granted, this bar, when it happened, it's a bit of a strange bar. Like it looks like news to me, because the price was down here 1 second, and literally half a second later it was up here taking us out, or like a second and a half later. So that's highly unusual, and I believe it's news based, but it doesn't really matter. It came up and it took us out at the high there. But I know that if we hadn't, if this were our first session of the day, the stop wouldn't have been trailed so quickly. It would have remained up here, or at best have been 3 half ticks or 1.5 whole ticks away from this high here. So that means it would have been at about 14.5. But because we were up on the day, and because it was late at night, and there are a whole bunch of other reasons. Our daughter went to full-time school for the very first time today, so there was that stressor involved. The kids, we traded later at night, as you can see, it was 8:20. So the kids were downstairs watching a cartoon while we were trying to trade, which was also a mistake. We tried to stretch ourselves. Usually when we trade, one is at school and one's asleep, or at best, one of them's asleep and one's awake. And we time it so that, especially my partner's free to, because mothers especially, are always kind of in touch with the children's needs and want to go to the children a little more than the fathers do. Don't get me wrong, I love spending time with my kids, but a mother's instinct is always to sometimes overly so go to the children. So if they're both awake, it just doesn't work. And we tried that. They were downstairs, and push came to shove. We had quite an argument, which I apologized for, but we dropped the ball today. And this trade was a bit typical of the type of trade that I would have taken on my own. So my mood, my emotional temperature was allowed to color our trading, and she and I lost control, whereas normally she would have control of the trading and I'd have control of the analysis. But I dropped my analysis, and therefore because we're working together, she dropped the trading. And of course it stopped us out here and went down to what would have been the target, 1 tick, whole tick away from the half number here. So instead of getting a Benjamin, $100 per contract, we lost about 56.25, so about 60 per contract after commissions there. And that dug in. I mean, I won't say how many contracts I'll leave you all a bit in the dark as to how many contracts we're trading, but we're not always trading one. That gave back a little bit on our day, but the day was still by far the biggest day in this FTP. So 2 wins, 1 loss. So what have I learned from this? I've learned that, or we have learned that, we can't do 2 sessions. I know we want to make progress quickly, but we make more progress with less sessions, and definitely not in the evening. The evening's got to be for the kids, and we need to stick to our early afternoon when our daughter, who's the eldest of the two, the older of the two, she's at school, or when they're having a nap, or a number of situations where we can do this. We definitely can't do this in the evening. So that's 1. 2, we can't do 2 sessions, because if we've had gains, coming back a second time just doesn't work for where I am now and where we are. So, and we knew this, and we went against to see if we could push the boat out, and it didn't work again. So we'll just take what we can get in our first session. That's 2. And then 3, definitely can't be doing this kind of stuff after dancing. If you've looked at my other videos, you know I dance, and that completely messes with my trading. Again, I knew this. I let this one go today. It's a lesson relearned. That's 3. 4, not after dinner. Messes with digestion and energy. Eating in the morning, and well, we don't really eat in the morning, do intermittent fasting, but lunch and the type of foods that we eat in the day is typically lighter than what we eat in the evening. So that messes with your ability to concentrate as well. That's 4. And I think those are the main 4. Obviously, there were, as I said, other factors, such as it being our daughter's first day, first full day at school, and I can't remember what else, but there were, and it's the first day on, quote, my FTP, end quote. So there was that little thing going on there, like moving over from my partner's combine to my FTP. So a little bit of nerves there. I noticed I was a little more tense today than I've been in the last few weeks while we completed that combine. So these are some of the thoughts, some of the things we've had to deal with. We may very well take tomorrow off. We'll see how it goes, because I've got an appointment with an energy doctor in the evening, of all things. And so we'll see how it pans out. But we got off to, it feels like a losing day, and it's actually the best day in the FTP. And we've moved to new account highs, just about by a few dollars. So everything's well, but this is a little warning sign. And so I'm going to take heed. We will never, I'm putting it on this video, holding ourselves accountable. We will never, at least not for the foreseeable future. So that means the next few weeks, no more double sessions, 1 session a day, no dancing before the session, no evening trading, and no heavy meals before a potential second session. So as we're trading 1 session, it eliminates the heavy meal thing. And so the other 2 things are the dancing and the kids. The kids need to be taken care of, because then we feel guilty and we're not concentrating and we're rushing to get back to the kids. So that's all I had to share on this video. Like if you feel like it, or dislike if you don't like it, it's all the same. But I just wanted to share, and this is more for us than anything, just so we can play it back. I know my partner will watch it and we'll play it back, and we need to take heed. So I'll get a decent night's rest now and reflect on what I've said in this video myself tomorrow, and then we'll be back to it. We're not that far off at all. We're within reaching, how do you say that in English? I've forgotten. We're within a stone's throw, that's what I'm trying to say. Been in Italy too long. We're within a stone's throw of the finish line here on this FTP. We'll go there, we'll make a bit on the funded account, and then we'll return to the other FTP that's waiting for us. So things are looking good still. Bit of a tiny setback today in terms of organization, but we'll nip it in the bud and we'll come back strong. So that's it for now. See you on the other side. Take care.